Hello everyone, welcome back. In this video I'm going to show you how to draw secondary beams in Etabs. Now we talk about secondary beams. What does it mean? When we have slab system, our slab system, there are different ways to transfer the load from the slab to the columns to the beams. You might have no beams in the interior, you just have the perimeter. You may have a girder joist, or you may have a normal one. Normal means that all the slabs surrounded by beams and there's columns at the intersection of the beams. You may have different systems in Etabs. There are some predefined models that you could choose in the beginning, but those will not allow you to go for the irregular dimensions. So you have to still manage them later. Well, let's say I want to do it by myself. I want to have a grid, a joist system here. I want to add some secondary beams. Those are the main beams. I have 4 main beams. I want to add secondary beams in between them. In order to do secondary beams, what do we need to do? We need to know the spacing between the secondary beams and the size of the secondary beams. Those are the 2 information that we needed. Let's say we have the section, we define the section there, and we know the spacing. Well, how to do the secondary beams? There is 2 ways. There is an option we call quick draw secondary beams, and there is one we can still use the draw beam. As I told you before, we can use that one also for drawing the secondary beams. If I click on the quick secondary beams, well, the option that we have is the properties. So first you'll choose the type of the beam that you have it. Let's say this is the main beam. I have a small section, 1540, I prepared before. This is the property. The moment release here should be pinned for the secondary beams because they're going to stay on the main beams, so the moment condition will be released. We call the moment condition here is pin. This is pin. Now the other way that we're providing here, whether we have the spacing or we have number of beams, how many beams you want to provide here, or I can specify the spacing. Let's say 1 meter between them, 1 meter between those secondary beams. I haven't clicked yes. You realize that the draw secondary, how does it work? It works between the grid. So it only try to provide something between the grid. So I have to click here, I have to 1 click here, I have to 1 click here. So whenever I have grids, it will basically provide this between the grids. Well, you have to be careful when you're using the secondary, the quick draw toolbar. Let's say I'll provide here. I can provide here and here and here. The direction of them, how can I specify? This is approximate orientation, we have it here. There is different way. Parallel to Y, so it's always will parallel to Y. If I go for parallel to X, it's going to always be parallel to X. If I choose the third option, which is normal to the near edge, it basically depends on the cursor. If this mouse is smaller here, it will be horizontal. If I bring it here, it will be vertical. So this is up to you. We can choose this one. Let's say if I go for X and the spacing between them 1000, click here, I'll click here, click here, click here. Well, you realize that here I don't have 1. What about the grid line here? Yes, I cannot click more. I cannot click more. That's enough. Yes. Now this is the problem with the quick. First, it's on the grid. If you don't have a beam here, quick draw does not understand. It will not check the surrounding beam. It only check the grid. So what I have to do, I have to release this one. Then I have to go to draw beam. So I have to use the other option with it. Well, what will you do here? We'll choose the property to be the same property. Here you will make sure that this is not continuous because here we have secondary beams. So I'll choose pinned. Then I'm going to draw one from here till here. Now this is another one which the quick draw couldn't provide it to me. This is one of the problem with the quick draw. The next problem is what? It's when we draw, those are not one. So what we have to do, we have to select those that they are separated, and we have to go to edit and edit frame, join frame together. So in that case, those will be one beam. And this is, I have the secondary beams here. If I go to 3D, let's provide the extrusion, it will be like this. Let me just fix this beam here. Sorry. Let's go to 3D. Now in the 3D, you'll realize that this is what the secondary beams look like. In case that you have it here. So this is secondary beams that you have it here. Let me show it to you nicely. So this is what the secondary. If I want to provide in the other direction, I can still provide in the other direction as well. Like this is, I am deciding here the beams that I have it here. Then we'll provide slab as well. It will come over them. There will be a slab there. So this is the secondary beams. We use quick draw, but remember in quick draw you have to do two things. Later join them together, and you need still the draw toolbar. Well, what is this problem? Let's say sometimes we can manage with this. We can manage with this, but if you have a lot of grid, look at here. Look at this option here. If I'm going with the quick toolbar, look at here. Look at this small one here, yes. And sometimes will be problem if I go for the vertical one. Let's say I'm going with the vertical. Sometimes we'll have a problem. Let's say I want one here, one here. Like for example, I cannot place here. I can place one here. I can place two here. So I will not be able to place everywhere in this manner, and I still have to join them later and use this line here. Well, if this is if I'm going to use quick tool. Some they prefer this way, some they prefer this way, some they prefer to go with the draw one. Now what is the pro with the draw one? If you want to draw everything by this tool. Let's say I want to draw this one here, at this part here, I want to draw things, for example, here. Now if I want to use draw here, make sure it is pin secondary beams. Well, how do I know exactly where to start? How do I know exactly where to start? How much is exactly? Let's say this is the distance I have it here, this distance. So this is 3 meter, 4 meter, I have it here, between those two. Well, how do I know exactly where to start? I can use this one. Etabs is giving me, for example, let's say here you have 70 centimeter, or like you want to go 80 centimeter. It's 80, but you realize that it's not easy to go like this. Yeah, I can do like this, and I draw one, for example, up to here. Then I'll draw another one from, again, for example, 1.6. Let's see if it's allowing me. It's not allowing me, it goes to the other direction. How can I manage this one? Well, there is a way to manage this. We will provide some points. We call them reference point around here. Then I'm going to use those points for draw. So to draw reference point, there is go to draw. There is draw reference point. We have it here. Reference point. So if you click on this draw reference point here, it will provide you something like this with offset. It will tell you that according to which point you're going to offset. Let's say that with this point here, offset, what does it mean? It means that you are at this point here. This is the point that you have it here, and you're trying to put a point somewhere here. This is we called offset in the x direction this much, and in the y direction this much. So this is delta x, and this will be delta y. If you provide those values here for x and y, remember you don't touch z here because you're working in a plan, so leave the z here. Z to be 0 always. So I can provide delta x, delta y. If I click at this, look, I'm clicking at this point, but Etabs will take this delta x and click at this point for me. Let me just show it to you. Let's say I'm going to use delta x and delta y. It's in millimeter. Let's say I'm going to use here 600 and it's here 600. Then what I have to do, I have to come and click at this point here, and Etabs is going to provide a point for me. Where is the point? Just get these things. You realize that there is a point here. This is a reference point. 600 from here, it will provide a point for me there. So if I want to provide, for example, it's 85, 80, 80, 80, 80 between them, what I have to do, y I'll make it 0. Why? Because we know that the offset I have it here will be in the direction of x. In the direction of x. So this is the direction of x I have it here. And the delta x will be, for example, 80 centimeter. Or since this is millimeter written here, I can go for 800 millimeter. So I can provide this one here. I can provide this x to be 800. So I'll make this one 800. Then if I move the mouse over this point here, click, like the joint will come here. So if I click on this one, what will happen? It will take 800 from here. I'll put the next joint for me here. And so on. In this way I can provide the joint. If I want to provide in this direction, we'll go for y. This is 0 in x, 8, so it will be minus 800. In offsetting, you have to remember this way that we have it. This is x positive, x negative. If you go up, y positive. If you come down, y negative. Since I wanted to come from here down, so I will choose like minus 800. So if I click here, it'll provide right here for me because it's minus. Then the next one, if I click, it'll bring here minus. So in this manner, I can provide those points first. Then if I have the points, I will go back to the draw, make sure everything is according to the secondary one, pin, section. Then I can use those. Look, I can use those. I can click on them. And I'm sure that they will be, because I already provide them. In order to make sure they will be horizontal, we'll just choose this one to be, let's say, parallel to x. For sure it will be horizontal. Then do not press escape. Use the right click. If I want this one to be horizontal, I can make sure this is horizontal and we'll have it here. Let's say from this side here, I can do it. We'll make sure this is y this time. Make sure it will be horizontal. By the way, Etabs has a way that it can tell you exactly if it is vertical or not. How do you see it? By the green line. So if you see the green line, it is means like a green line. If you see the green, so it's basically vertical. Like this way I provide the things for me myself here. So if I want to provide one here, I can do it as well, but I didn't provide reference point. There's two ways to do it, whether to give the dynamic, use the dynamic dimensions, or provide a reference point for myself. So let's say I want to provide one here at 70. I can click, and when I see it's green, so it's horizontal, I can click the other one, right click, and I have this system provided by what? By drawing line. Remember, the pin is important, the section is important, and then if you want to points, you can use the reference point. If not, you still can go with the quick tool, quick draw, but you have to join them later together, and still you need the first one in order to draw over the grid line if it is necessary. I believe this is enough for the secondary beams if you have a system in this manner. Thanks for watching.